Hey there, BR Griffin here, professional videographer and award-winning photographer. In my last video, we talked about this firework checklist. Today, we are gonna go over this still wool checklist. As you can see, this one is not laminated, which is fine because when you print it out, you can just fold it up and put it in your pocket. So this 4th of July, I'm assuming that if you're gonna be shooting off fireworks, you're gonna be doing it in an area that's, not gonna catch on fire. It's, you have like pavement or concrete or gravel or sand or snow, maybe. Maybe not this time of year, or maybe for some reason you're standing out in the middle of a lake. Now, obviously you could be going to a community hosted fireworks show, and that's great too. Maybe don't do this there, but if you're gonna do still wool photography, you wanna make sure you pick an area that's safe. I still recommend bringing a fire extinguisher just in case some of the sparks don't go completely out. Generally, this is a pretty safe thing to do, but always take the necessary safety precautions. I'll leave a link in the description where you can sign up for my newsletter as well as a free PDF download of this checklist. And what it's gonna go through is it's gonna talk to you about what kind of gear you should be packing. And it goes through everything: camera, wide angle lens, tripod plate. That's very important, as we talked about in the firework video. Fully charged batteries, format your cards. And then this is when we get into some of the special equipment you'll need for still wool photography, such as the still wool. And it's recommended that you do the 0000 still wool. It's more fine. It's gonna ignite a lot easier. I think that cost me about $5 or $6 for a pack of 12. You just need to use one sheet. And what you do is you kind of fluff that out inside a metal whisk, which cost me 97 cents. And then I think I spent $6 on a dog leash. You can use a rope as well. I just find the dog leash is really easy to just hook it onto the end of the whisk. And then you're gonna need some way to start the fire. So like a lighter. And then of course, a fire extinguisher. And then you're gonna wanna dress in maybe long sleeve clothes that aren't gonna be easily flammable, gloves for safety, and eye protection as well. And it's not a bad idea and I didn't include this on the list, but it's not a bad idea to wear like a baseball cap or some kind of cap that's not gonna ignite if a spark lands on it. And like I said, we're talking extremes here. I went out and shot this picture with my nephew, and he said one landed in his hair. It didn't catch on fire or anything. Gloves, eye protection. So again, find a non-flammable area, set to manual focus. Your camera's gonna have a really hard time auto-focusing in the dark. Set it manual, and then make sure your subject is in focus, although chances are they'll be kind of blurry as they're moving anyways. If you want them to be more in focus, you could hit them with a flash or just have them hold very, very still, I guess. Start with a low ISO. I think in that photo I showed you, we started that was 100 ISO. Because you're doing a long exposure, that light's gonna come into your camera over a period of time. Set your aperture somewhere between f5.6 and f11. That's just gonna make sure things are as sharp as they can be. And it's not gonna be too dark, it's not gonna be too bright and have a shallow depth of field. Adjust your white balance. In that photo, we did not do that. We just used the auto white balance, and it did pretty good. However, if your camera might think that the orange flames are a tungsten light, and it might try to balance for that. So you can set your white balance to daylight, and that will help really bring out the orange in the still wool. Set your shutter speed anywhere between 2 seconds and 10 seconds. I think that one we did for 10 seconds, which might have been a little long. If you do it for a shorter amount of time, you might need to bump up the ISO a little higher. Just play around with your settings, test things out. Like I said, you get 12 sheets of still wool, so for about $5. Assuming you already have a camera, this costs less than $20 to do this really cool photo. And then remember to put out any remaining sparks you see. So that's the basic rundown of this checklist. So if you'd like to go deeper into long exposure photography, I'm developing a course right now that's designed for beginners. By the time you finish the course, you'll be able to wow your friends. It'll be pretty much expert level. So I'll leave a link in the description so you can sign up for that newsletter and download this free PDF checklist. And if you're still overwhelmed by using your camera in manual mode, I also have this cheat sheet available, which briefly goes over ISO and gives some examples of when to use different ISOs, different apertures, different shutter speeds. This is a great resource, and I'll leave a link in the description for this as well. And if you really want to go wild with long exposure photography, let's talk about star photography next. You can click this video here, and we'll talk about star photography, and there'll be a link for this checklist waiting in the description of that video.